Hello everybody, welcome to the Empressive channel. Jay-Z is getting dragged on the internet and he's being called a sellout for signing a deal with the NFL even after he was against what the NFL was doing to Colin Kaepernick. Now, if you don't know, Jay-Z sat with the NFL commissioner Roger Goodell and he announced a partnership with the NFL. He said that he is going to use his Roc Nation agency to manage athletes in the NFL. And not only that, he's going to be involved in choosing entertainers to perform for all NFL related events, including the Super Bowl. So as you can see, Roger Goodell is using Jay-Z to clean up the backlash that he faced when he blacklisted Colin Kaepernick. And Jay-Z is on cloud nine. You see him laughing, smiling, giggling. He's laughing all the way to the bank because he just sealed a very profitable deal with the NFL. But a lot of people weren't too happy about this because in the past, Jay-Z did voice his support for Colin Kaepernick and he denounced the NFL and the Super Bowl, but now he's turning his back on Cap and signing with the NFL. And a lot of people called him out on it. Now, Colin Kaepernick was blackballed by the NFL for taking a kneel during the national anthem. And the reason why he took a kneel is because he was trying to raise awareness for social injustice and police brutality against black people. So basically, he was like, I'm not standing for the American flag until America starts to stand for black people. Well, it just so happened that when he made this protest, he wasn't allowed to play in the NFL anymore. And the same thing happened to his teammate, Reid. Reid is currently playing in the NFL, but before he got re-signed, he also had trouble getting accepted by a team. And it's allegedly because he was blackballed after protesting with Colin. Both of them were blackballed by the NFL for making a simple, non-violent protest. And this actually stirred up a lot of controversy. A lot of people were boycotting the NFL because they did not like the way Colin and Eric were treated. Even Jay-Z was convincing people not to perform at the Super Bowl because he was allegedly supporting Colin Kaepernick. And there were some football players who attempted to follow Colin's lead by kneeling, but they did face some backlash. Now, one of the Denver Broncos players named Brandon Marshall lost his sponsorship for kneeling. Not only that, the NFL was threatening players for kneeling during the national anthem. And Donald Trump, this clown president that we have here, wanted the NFL owners to fire players who would not stand for the flag.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
As you can see, Colin Kaepernick's protest stirred up a lot of controversy. Colin Kaepernick's name was even censored from the EA Sports football game Madden 19. So clearly the NFL had it out for Colin Kaepernick. Now, both Colin Kaepernick and Reid did file a grievance lawsuit against the NFL and they did take a settlement, okay? And some people are wondering why Colin and Eric took the settlement, because the NFL is basically admitting that, yes, they blackballed these two men. So why would they take a settlement to play for an organization that treated them so poorly? Well, here's the thing. Colin Kaepernick and Eric never wanted to stop playing football. Football is their passion, but they also want to be able to exercise their First Amendment rights. They shouldn't be fired from their job because they're speaking out against something that is affecting their community. But the NFL was trying to suppress their voice and their protests because it made them uncomfortable and they were afraid that they would offend their sports fans. So this is the issue that both Colin and Eric were dealing with, especially Colin. Eric was allowed back in the NFL and he did sign with the Panthers, but unfortunately, Colin Kaepernick is still blackballed. No team wants to sign him because honestly, he's too controversial and the NFL teams are not willing to take the chance to sign him because they don't want to upset their supporters and they feel like Colin does not play up to the standard that they think he should. But Colin has been practicing and he's really been trying to get back in the NFL, but nobody wants to let him in. So that's the whole backstory on that. Now, Jay-Z has been one of the big figures in music who has really taken Colin Kaepernick's side. He wore his jersey during his performance on Saturday Night Live. He was convincing artists like Jermaine Dupri and Travis Scott to not perform at the Super Bowl because of how the NFL was treating Colin Kaepernick. But it's interesting that now that he signed this deal with Roger Goodell, he's no longer on the Colin Kaepernick wave. So now his whole stance is it's time to stop kneeling and actually do something.
Okay, I think we passed kneeling. I think it's time to go into actionable items. I think everyone knows what the issue is, and we're done with that. Everyone knows what you know what the issue is? You know why we were kneeling? Okay, do you know the issue? Yeah, do you know the issue? Yes, we all know the issue now. Okay, next, where we moving on next? And I'm not, again, so to be clear for the room, I'm not minimizing that part of it because that has to happen. That's a necessary part of the process. But now we all know what's going on. What are we going to do? How are we going to stop? Because the kneeling was not about a job. It was about injustice. Let me bring attention to injustice. Everyone's saying, how are you going forward? And Cap doesn't have a job. This wasn't about him having a job. Right? That became part of it. That became part of the discussion. He was kneeling to bring attention to injustice. We know what it is. Now, how do we address that injustice?
Now, I didn't see anything wrong with what Jay-Z said, but people are still calling him out for switching up on Colin. They feel like he's pretending to be for the people, when in reality, he only cares about lining his pockets. Now, obviously, Jay-Z's main motivation for this partnership is money. Before anything else, Jay-Z is a businessman, a very smart businessman at that. But Jay-Z is very well aware of how his partnership with the NFL is going to be perceived, so he did start his own social justice campaign called Inspire Change, which is an initiative to boost African American history education in schools and also bring awareness to social injustice. But unfortunately, Colin Kaepernick and Reid are not a part of this initiative. And it would have been great for Colin and Eric to be involved because they both are doing a lot for the community. Colin himself has donated a lot of money and he started up the Know Your Rights camp where he's offering financial literacy, holistic health, and college preparation to young Black kids. Not only that, he's educating them on how to deal with the police. So Colin has been doing quite a lot, and it would have been great if Jay-Z could have teamed up with Colin to push the social justice initiative, but Jay-Z did not do that. And Jay-Z claimed that he had conversations with Colin Kaepernick about this deal, but Colin Kaepernick's girlfriend named Nessa said that it was a lie. She said, "This is a lie. Colin never spoke to Jay-Z and NFL ahead of that deal being done. They never included him in any discussion." Reid called Jay-Z out and said Jay-Z doesn't need the NFL's help to address social issues. It was a money move for him and his music business. The NFL gets to hide behind his blackface to try to cover up blackballing Colin. #neocolonialism. Colin Kaepernick tweeted this: "Today marks the 3rd-year anniversary of the first time I protested systemic oppression. I continue to work and stand with the people in our fight for liberation, despite those who are trying to erase the movement. The movement has always lived with the people." Activist Shaun King called Jay-Z out and said this: "Jay-Z was wrong. Click the link in my bio for today's episode of The Breakdown where I unpack the pain and problems of what Jay-Z just did in striking a deal with the NFL, one that he spent a year building, while they actively prevent Colin Kaepernick from ever playing another game again. Let me tell you 2 things. If you have actively been a friend of mine for working for 3 years and continue to do so, we can't be friends. We sure can't laugh and be buddies. Secondly, Jay-Z was working on this deal for a year. They flew out and met each other over and over again. It's why they look like besties here. And in that year, Jay-Z talked to Colin repeatedly. He never mentioned the deal being in the works because he knew it was shady. He knew it was wrong." Anyway, listen to today's episode. And I found it interesting that Rihanna actually liked this post. So Rihanna doesn't agree with what Jay-Z is doing either. Also, J. Cole voiced his support for Colin Kaepernick. He said, "Thank you, Kaepernick. We ain't forgot. NFL, let the man work. Nas's company took a subliminal dig at Jay-Z and said, keep integrity at all costs. Not only that, songwriter and producer Michael Cox spoke out about Jay-Z on his No Chill radio show and basically called Jay-Z out for being a hypocrite.
I mean, Jay-Z went hard.
Yeah.
He went hard against like f the NFL. I don't need them. He went hard. You know,
On the song.
I'm saying no, but I'm behind closed doors too. He picked up the phone and called Jermaine to tell him not to do it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we talking about a man a year ago, not even a year ago, picked up the phone. It's the same program. It's literally the same as actually. The only difference is what Jay-Z's doing is he's doing the actual Super Bowl. I don't even sound like I'm defending JD, but I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day,
I didn't have an issue with none of that shit.
He took a beating. A beating.
Right.
For doing the same shit.
Right.
He took a beating, and I guarantee you they didn't pay him as much as they about to pay dude.
Colin Kaepernick's girlfriend Nessa wrote a long post about this on Instagram and said, "We will never turn our backs on Kaepernick because your idols decided to work with the same organization that is actively keeping Colin unemployed, all because he peacefully protested against the social injustice in Black and brown communities, specifically police brutality. So really, how can Jay-Z and the NFL utter social justice in their partnership while keeping Colin unemployed because of his social justice work? It's typical for the NFL to buy different PR looks to cover up their dirt. That's nothing new. But what is disgusting and disappointing is Jay-Z let them use him. Whether Jay-Z knew it or not, I don't doubt his intelligence, so I would think he knew. He helped the NFL bury who he said is an iconic figure, Colin Kaepernick. Don't tell me there's a master plan and wait for it, because the only reason anything would ever change is because the people are loud and clear and won't let the league buy their loyalty with their disingenuous moves. The people are letting the league and anyone who works with them know that they aren't buying this BS. So as you can see, a lot of people are expressing their disappointment with Jay-Z, but I will say this. I'm going to give him a chance to prove himself. I want him to show us what he's going to do. There's a lot of eyes on him and a lot of pressure, so he's definitely going to have to do something. So I'm going to sit back and wait and see what Jay-Z does next. I'm hearing that he partnered with the NFL because he's making steps to actually being part owner of an NFL team, and that's a really big move. So if he kind of works his way into these positions, he could actually give back to a lot of people. So I'm not going to criticize Jay-Z just yet. I'm just going to sit back and wait to see what he does. But I still want the NFL to let Colin Kaepernick play again. Roger Goodell, I see you laughing and chuckling with Jay-Z. Happy you found a cool, rich black friend. But I got news for you. We still ain't forgot about you yet, okay? Convince one of these teams to allow Colin Kaepernick to play. Stop playing around. Colin has been working and practicing. He's ready to play. Even if he doesn't play the best, just give him the chance to prove himself. Anyway, tell me what you all think about this video down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.